everybody, Igor here with Fred. And we have very special announcement because coming soon to the Monster Channel, Tim The Enchanter. So stay tuned for the announcement. It will be electrifying. Now we need to electrify you, friends.
Hello, Tim the Enchanter here. In the regrettable event that your holiday hangover has extended for a wee bit too long, or perhaps your New Year's hopes and dreams haven't as yet measured up to desperately held expectations, you know, you can always turn to us here at the Monster Channel, because in our particular corner of the interwebs, the macabre fun never sleeps. In fact, if the fun were a guy, he wouldn't dare go nodding off. He'd be far too worried that, whilst snoozing, his mischievous girlfriend might sneak into the room and paint glittery nail polish on his manly man nails. Just imagine waking up to that. Well, maybe I've shared too much again. But I expect some of you fellows out there know what I mean. You might also tune into my new show, Scary as Hell Theater, due to premiere as soon as my showrunner manages to get the lead out and delivers it to Halloween Jack. Either way, we're here for you. The Monster Channel, where the fun, or the guy with the nail polish phobia, never sleeps.
Who that say who that when I say who that?
Who said who that when I say who that?
What's the matter with you? That's just an echo. There's nothing to be scared of.
That's what you think.
By the power of Grayskull and Chicago-style pizza, Klaatu, Barata, Niktu, Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. What is that? The light. The light! It suddenly grows so very much brighter. I was cruelly banished to the shadowy wasteland for such a lengthy span. I've long since lost count of how many years. It's all starting to come back to me, what it felt like to be among the living ones. Can this truly be real? Is this not just another vexing dream within a dream? No, this is no dream. It's time for Tim to shine again. I'm back, baby. Dig it, if you can. You creatures of the light, how can you say with absolute certainty what does or does not dwell within the limitless ocean of the night? Are the dark and shrouded legions of evil naught but figments of the imagination? Because you and your puny conceit say they cannot exist. Whence came the story, told in frightened whispers, down through the ages, of witch and warlock, werewolf and vampire, and all the spawn of hell, born on the sable wings of night through the unholy communion of the witch's Sabbath. Good evening, and welcome, one and all, to our macabre little corner of the boneyard. We're coming to you from picturesque Ghoul Beach, Oregon. And I must say, it feels quite agreeable to finally be free of that dark, dank, dreary realm at long last. All in all, it's good to be back at the old horror hosting racket. Time-honored institution.
Imbecile, bombastic ignoramus.
So, let's celebrate the joyous occasion by breaking out a real barn burner of a film, a genuine crowd pleaser. Therefore, by the power vested in me through the Wizards Union and the Zachary Fan Club, tonight's cinematic descent into horror will be nothing less than Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses, starring...
Not so fast there, Mr. Firefly. I regret to inform you that the title you've just teased to our viewers is not available to us.
Not available, you say? What have you been doing with the disc archives, old boy? Been using them as frisbees again? Been passing them out at parties as drink coasters?
You must have me confused with some other dubious acquaintance. I treat my DVDs like they're holy relics. They're always handled with extreme care.
By the way, this fellow on the other side of the studio is my showrunner, Stevie Gothling. He's also sometimes inclined to lock me away for long periods in a featureless void, whenever it's his belief that I have misbehaved.
Hey, what can I say?
But no matter. All right then, let's switch gears and bring on something else. Ah, I know. How about something more light-hearted? Something delightfully satirical. Join us now as we bring you the Scary as Hell Theater premiere of Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead, starring...
Wrong again, Zombie Breath. No can do.
What? Oh, not available as well, eh?
Not only is it not available, but it's downright forbidden. Maybe I didn't explain things to you so well upon springing you from limbo, but we can't afford to pay for clearance to show either of those movies.
Oh, I see. You're a cheapskate, a tightwad, a skinflint of the first order.
What can I say? I learned from the master of crypt-dwelling, penny-pinching misers. However, for the purposes of our gathering here this evening, I'm afraid we're going to have to restrict ourselves exclusively to public domain titles.
Oh, just peachy. And I suppose you have a particular movie in mind as well.
You are correct, sir. We're going to show the 1933 Poverty Row classic, The Vampire Bat, starring Lionel Atwill, Fay Wray, and Dwight Frye. It's a personal favorite of mine. Really is an underappreciated little genre flick.
That tears it, buddy boy. I'm not about to sit here for this nonsense. I'll walk, see? I'll jump up out of this chair and leave you high and dry.
I've anticipated that you might react in such a way, which is why I've had a standby replacement waiting in the green room, ready to step into the breach.
Oh, really? And who would that be?
None other than the guy who had the job prior to your return, Mr. Chin.
Don't touch that dial. I am your new host, Mr. Chin.
No, not that. Sacrilege. Mr. Chin. Of all the despicable riffraff. And I thought I left him choking on my dust back in Idaho. What? You couldn't get Kaiser Sose? Or did Hannibal Lecter have a previous dinner engagement? All right. Curse you. You win this round. Let's all sit back and watch our classic fright-filled feature, The Vampire Bat.
Hi, I'm Brink Stevens, and you're watching Scary as Hell Theater on the Monster Channel.
You'll pray for death long before you die.
Yes. Good night, Martha. Note to self. Be sure to have security bars installed on the upstairs windows. There's no telling who might possibly have it in for me, or who might come lurking in the dead of night.
You needn't worry, Methuselah. You'll probably outlive us all. Besides, paranoia is so dreadfully unbecoming in such a regal, self-respecting enchanter as yourself.
Ah, well, probably so. Just the same, it wouldn't hurt to be on one's guard these days, especially since replacements appear to be in such ready supply. By the way, I was joking about the whole regal thing.
What? You actually bought that?
Not for a moment, my pernicious little goth child. Far grander foes than you have tried and failed to crush my spirit. At any rate, we seem to have lucked into quite a suitably spooky little vampire yarn here. Not at all bad, I must say. Better than I had anticipated thus far. I'm particularly taken with the rather disheveled-looking young man with the overpronounced fondness for bats.
That's Dwight Frye. He was a highly accomplished and versatile stage actor who made a massive splash in films by playing the memorable fly-eating character Renfield in Todd Browning's Dracula. Oops, sorry, wrong image. Nice crossbow. After that, he was regrettably typecast into often playing weirdos and fiends. Or else, whenever he scored more of a straight role, he would frequently fade into the background and scarcely be noticed. Of course, he wasn't pleased with any of this, but it was the 1930s. He had a young family to support, and he liked to eat regularly. So he took whatever acting roles that came his way. Others among his horror credits were Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and Dead Men Walk. He tragically passed away unexpectedly and far too young in 1943.
Ah, yes. Thank you so much, Stevie, for those lovely rays of sunshine. Hey, way to bring the room down, Killjoy. Well, just to make it up to everybody out there, after the show, Uncle Tim is going to take everybody out to Stinky Joe's barbecue truck. How would that be, huh? Is that in the budget?
What budget?
And Stevie will be paying. It's all on him. Now then, let's get back to the movie, shall we? Can I have my wand back now? Here, vampires. Here, vampires. Come on, come on. Here, vampires. Here, vampires. Come to Papa.
In 1932, owing much to the extraordinary box office success for Universal Studios of both Dracula and Frankenstein, Fay Wray and Lionel Atwill headed the character-actor-rich cast of Warner Brothers' Dr. X, the first cinematic horror property produced entirely in the lavish three-strip Technicolor process, notably helmed by legendary director Michael Curtiz. The following year, Wray, Atwill, and Curtiz were reunited by that same major Hollywood studio for a second horror offering, likewise produced in color, Mystery of the Wax Museum. During the lengthy post-production period for that film, the execs at Majestic Pictures, a noteworthy Poverty Row company, brought Wray and Atwill together yet again for what they hoped would be a successful project, The Vampire Bat, rushed into production to hopefully benefit greatly from the inevitable advance publicity campaign for Warner's looming Wax Museum release.
Opening in January 1933 and lensed in glorious black and white, The Vampire Bat was duly visited upon movie-going audiences just months prior to the historic premiere of Miss Ray's trademark role in RKO Pictures' King Kong in March and April of that same year. Also notable in the cast for The Vampire Bat are two veterans of James Whale horror classics, Melvyn Douglas from The Old Dark House and Lionel Belmore from Frankenstein. Hello, Tim the Enchanter here, speaking for a cause with which you might not be too familiar, huddled safe and sound together inside your oh-so-cozy abodes. With new housing and business developments spreading out across the country at a relentless pace, did you ever give any thought to what it must be like for the fabled undead, as they are so cruelly evicted from their family crypts and stately castles, condemned to roam the countryside with scarcely a discarded orange crate to call home? It's not a very pleasant thing, I can assure you. But now, with your dollars, you can actually adopt a wayward vampire, receive a photo and a letter from your very own vampire ward, and rest easy with the knowledge that you went that extra mile to help a bloodsucker who couldn't help themselves. Just call the number at the bottom of your screen, and please help those who are far too proud and regal to ask on their own behalf. Do it today. Do it now. Thank you.
Hey there, big boy. Don't have a date tonight? Stuck at home, all alone? Then pick up the phone and dial 555-FAKE. That's 555-FAKE. Of course, you won't get any of us on the line. We're just models hired to do this commercial. But if you're desperate enough to call and pay what we charge, you probably won't even care. And at $2 for 30 seconds, you'll wind up spending a small fortune before you even get the slightest glimmer of satisfaction. So come on, don't keep me waiting. After all, time is money. Call me now, sucker.
So, what are you wearing tonight? Sounds yummy. Me? Oh, just this old enchanter's robe of mine. And nothing else. Oh. All right then. How very nice to have heard from you. Same time tomorrow night, my dear. Kisses. Well, my creepy cohorts, as the show's host, it's rather important to put oneself out there, to make sure that the sponsor is kept satisfied. While I have this opportunity, I would also like to reaffirm the fact that our beloved psychic, Miss Cleo, is standing by right now to tell your fortune, and only for a nominal charge to your credit card. So, after the show, pick up the phone and... not so fast, you wandagenarian wanker. I'll have you know that Miss Cleo is no longer in the business.
She's retired with extreme prejudice.
X-nay on the Leo-K. Can't you see that I'm only trying to... Besides, I've been quite inconveniently banished to a dark realm these past 2 decades, bereft of any such creature comforts as cable TV. So, what do you expect, Mr. Know-It-All?
Duly noted, sir. When I send you back to that very special, cold, empty void, I'll be sure to hook you up with a few inexpensive crossword puzzles and a second-hand Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, how peachy of you. Well, it appears as though I command just about as much respect around here as Dwight Fry's bat-infatuated character does in our feature this evening. I wonder if that bottomless pit he went leaping into offers a basic cable hookup. And now, let's rejoin our film for the exciting climax. I mean, fright-filled conclusion.
There is nothing like shamelessly leaning into blue territory. Your very first night back on the job.
The showrunner doth protest too much with all of this loose talk of wankers. What do you expect after locking me away for 20 years? Our lovely fake phone girls aside, it seems as though there may be an opening for an all-new 1-800 personality. I wonder what famed psychic Sylvia Brown is doing tonight.
I am Dracula. Do as I command, and go watch Scary as Hell Theater on the Monster Channel. Do as I command. Do as I command. Do.
Synthetic flesh. So, that's it then? No vampire? No undead bloodsucker? No supernatural monster?
Well, no. The notion of a vampire abroad on a killing spree, that was just a red herring to provide cover for the actual murderer, who was himself a victim of hypnosis, and forced to provide the fiendish scientist with a regular supply of fresh blood for his wicked experiments.
Oh my. No vampire. What a crushing disappointment. What a letdown.
Personally, I don't see it that way. I'm a big fan of this film, which in its way has a good amount in common with another vampire as red herring movie made a couple years later, Todd Browning's Mark of the Vampire. I have to say, that one gets a lot of flack as well for its ending, which reveals the supposed vampires as a troupe of actors that posed as vampires in order to trap a murderer. But I've never felt cheated by these deceptions, because they're both completely viable thrillers with fine casts and spooky atmosphere.
Well, all I can say is, let's hope that tonight's presentation didn't have the unfortunate side effect of provoking everybody to go bounding up their stairs to their chamber pots.
Reports are just now coming in. It's not looking very good. The entire population of Ghoul Beach just flushed their toilets at the exact same time. And the massive expulsion of wastewater has just flooded the low-lying creekside residents. The smell alone is said to be thoroughly noxious.
Ah! The numbers are in, folks, and they don't lie. It seems as though we've accidentally stumbled across an all-new way to gauge viewership. I retract my objections from earlier in the show, Stevie. I commend you on your sterling choice of public domain films.
I don't think it was the movie. Remember years ago when Entertainment Tonight host Mary Hart was accused of prompting seizures just by speaking in certain random viewers? Well, I believe the true cause may well rest with you, Tim. Something about the sonic characteristics of your voice, or else you did something untoward with your wand that I don't know about. Either way, things are looking pretty bleak.
There's no joy in Mudville. Is that what you're trying to say? Well, that's entirely absurd. The very thought that anybody would take such extreme issue with my dulcet tones. It's laughable, I tell you.
The problem is more widespread than that. Vincent Grimley just texted me to say that you should stop talking already. His pipes have burst, and the hallowed room where he so carefully stores his vast external drive collection is flooding with sewer water.
Oh, really? Well, I refuse to take responsibility for this nonsense. Why don't we cut to our latest Horror Host tribute segment and give the audience an opportunity to mop things up a bit. truly warms the cockles of my grinchy old heart. As always, you know, it's good to cast one's gaze backward. Spin me back down the years and days of my youth, as Jethro Tull once so famously sang, to see from whence we horror hosts of a certain vintage sprang.
Okay, some good news to pass along. The flooding seems to have miraculously ceased, and people seem to have dried out again quite nicely. Did you have any hand in this?
Oops, my bad. It appears that I accidentally left my wand on the evacuation setting. I was, chasing some pesky ants out of the kitchenette earlier. In any case, all that was required was to simply reverse the flow. Presto! Ghoul Beach is high and dry once again, except for the staggering patrons in the local bars. I even left everybody with a fresh pine forest scent. At any rate, all's well that ends well. I believe I just coined that phrase. Feel free to use it, if you please.
Not likely, you scurvy old pirate.
Silence when you speak. You're a legend in your own mind, Stevie. There, I've just coined another one. Go forth and spread it throughout the land. I don't mind in the least.
What a low ebb we've sunk to this evening. And after harboring such high hopes, too.
Well, you know what they say, don't you? There's nowhere to go but up. Or did I just say that? I believe so. Set controls for the heart of the sun. Scary as Hell Theater is back in business.
First Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick, and now Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Why don't you try updating your MP3 player sometime?
All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. What have you been listening to of late?
The Cure's Disintegration and the Sisters of Mercy's Floodland.
Talk about a regressionist, huh? Well, on that all-too-dreary note, according to the old clock in the crypt, we're running out of time. So, gather around here, all of you, with old Uncle Tim. What have we learned from tonight's classic horror meditation? We've learned that there's nothing more sweet than Fay Ray's smile. There's nothing more fiendish than a mad doctor who keeps throbbing disembodied organs alive in his lab. And there's nothing silkier than a nice, soft bat. Take all of that with you into your dreams tonight. And rest easy in the knowledge that your slumber will give way to a brand new day. And a fresh pine forest scent.